Tony, you were going to make a comment about why we got so much crazy rain in December, especially in the first part of the month.
Yeah, what drew my attention to this was a tweet from Scientific American pointing out that what was going on was something called a phenomenon called an atmospheric river, in which there's moisture that's always above the equator, but thanks to a wind, it was being carried directly towards California. And where it encountered cold air over California, it was just dumping a lot of rain. So this was our first big rainstorm. And it came with kind of a story that, back in the 1861, and about every 200 years, according to archaeology and geology, we see evidence that California gets massively flooded. Like in 1861, the Central Valley filled with water, thousands of people were killed. Hundreds of thousands of cattle were killed, and it destroyed the California economy. The state was about 11 years old at the time. So they were saying, it looks like the pattern we're seeing now, so is it going to keep up for the next 40 days like happened in 1861? So I thought, well, this was the beginning of the storm, and maybe we better keep track of it. Well, fortunately, it didn't work out that way. But
and I've mentioned this before. I chose a great time to take the roof off my house. If you were here last month, we were talking about having to bring things up to code for LA Department of Building and Safety, so that involved taking off the roof. So I have a big tarp. Great. Then the rains came.
So this was the pattern in early December, and from a University of Wisconsin site, just a close-up of the moist air hitting California. Now, it doesn't always just hit California. It hits Oregon and Washington. And typically our storms, I think in the winter, come really from the Arctic and sweep down from like Siberia and that region. So we don't usually get this atmospheric river. And this just shows how the moist air from the equator unloads over California in that situation. Now, the article did say this happens roughly every 200 years. We're almost overdue. And, well, not quite. We got 40 years. But so it's kind of like big earthquakes. It's one of these things that could happen.
Now, there's a bright side to it.
Okay, so I think you've seen these maps before, because we've shown them last year, showing how severe the drought is over our state. And from December 9th, this is the current state at December 9th, but for most of the summer, this was the state of the drought for California. And then those heavy rains came up in Northern California. Of course, we got some rains here. And if we fast forward to the next map, December 23rd, you can see there is some relief, but it's not really too much, but it's a little drop in the bucket for the state, so to speak. But we do need more rain, so I'm hoping the rain will keep coming in the next few months.
Yeah, I'd heard to get back to normal, we needed a storm like that big one about every other week. So all winter long.
Please wait till my roof is back.